We are going to be taking a closer look at the Hearts of Iron 4 Operation Overlord scenario. So, first things first. The thing you need to understand in that scenario is that you're just playing a random Hearts of Iron 4 mod. You play once and then you forget. So, first off, the thing you need to understand in that scenario Overlord the thing you need to understand is that Scenario Overlord isn't just another random Hearts of Iron 4 mod you download, play once, and then you forget about it. It's one of those mods that feels like it's trying to fundamentally change how you experience the game. Vanilla Hearts of Iron 4 is this massive global sandbox where you're juggling industry, politics, diplomacy, and warfare across the entire world. It's huge, messy, and absolutely chaotic in a fun way. But Overlord? This goes in a complete opposite direction. It zooms all the way in, like really zooms in one specific moment in World War II, and that is the Normandy campaign. Instead of thinking about a global strategy, managing continents, you suddenly feel more like an actual field commander trying to manage a very intense and very localized operation. The map is scaled down massively, like around 22 times more zoomed in than in vanilla. Which sounds like a small technical detail, but ends up completely redefining the gameplay. The first thing you notice when you start playing is that everything feels much slower in terms of pacing. The game speed is slowed down a lot compared to vanilla, which might sound annoying at first, but it actually works in the mod's favor. Instead of blasting through months in a few minutes, you're basically managing things hour by hour, sometimes even minute by minute if you're interested in that. That sounds intense, and yeah, it is. But it also makes the whole experience feel way more immersive. Every decision feels heavier now, every push matters to you, and every mistake hurts, like it hurts really bad. Like in vanilla Hearts of Iron 4, if you mess up a battle, it's kind of, nah, whatever, you've got a whole world to back up on. In Overlord, if you screw up a breakthrough or lose a key crossing point, it can spiral into a disaster really fast. And that brings me to one of the coolest gameplay changes, the way divisions are handled. Instead of controlling large, chunky divisions like you do in vanilla, the mod splits them down into smaller battalion-sized units. At first, it feels a bit overwhelming, because suddenly you've got way more units to manage, but after a while it clicks in your head. This system gives you way more control over how the battles unfold. You can plug gaps more precisely, create tighter encirclements, and micromanage your frontline in a way that isn't possible in the base game. But, and this is important, it also means the mod is way more micro-intensive. And if you're someone who's already struggling with micromanaging in Hearts of Iron 4, this mod will absolutely test your patience. It's not forgiving any mistakes. It expects you to pay attention. You can't just draw a frontline and hit go like in vanilla. You have to actively manage things, and that constantly. Another thing that really stands out is how the terrain and map feature are designed. The mod does this clever thing where wide rivers are turned into lakes with specific crossing points, like bridges, that become super important strategic locations. And man, these crossings become everything to you. Holding a bridge can literally decide the outcome of an entire operation. Losing one can collapse your entire line. It creates this natural choke point that feels incredibly realistic and forces you to think about positioning in a much more grounded way. It's not just push forward everywhere, it's where do I break through and how do I hold this? Oh, and let's talk about one of my favorite parts of Hearts of Iron 4, yay! The supply lines, because, the supply is a big deal here. The mod increases supply usage and adjusts how supply centers work, which basically means you can't ignore logistics. In vanilla Hearts of Iron 4, supply can be important, but you can often brute force your way through problems. If you have enough divisions, in Overlord, that doesn't really fly. If your units aren't supplied, they just aren't performing anything. And since the map is so focused, supply lines become very visible and very vulnerable. Cutting off enemy supplies or protecting your own becomes a central part of the gameplay loop. One thing I really appreciate about this scenario is how it tries to balance gameplay with historical immersion. You've got historical orders of battle, real commanders, and a ton of events, like around 150. That either tells a story or influence the gameplay. These events aren't just fluff either. They add context and sometimes force you into decisions that reflect the real dilemmas faced during Operation Overlord. There's also this interesting mechanic with cohesion for the Allies and influence for Germany. Without getting too technical here, these systems basically represent the internal pressure and coordination challenges each side faced. For the Allies, you're trying to keep everything working together smoothly. For Germany, you're dealing with the growing pressure and interference from high command. It's a nice touch because it adds another layer of tension beyond just battlefield performance. Now let's be real and talk about the downsides, because there definitely are some. The biggest one is accessibility, because this mod is absolutely not beginner friendly, like at all. If you're new to Hearts of Iron 4, or even just an average at it, Overlord can feel really overwhelming, and that really quickly. The micro, the pacing, the importance of every decision, it all adds up to something that can feel pretty stressful for you. And even if you're experienced, it can still be exhausting to play for long sessions. This isn't just a kickback and relax kind of mod, it demands your attention constantly. Another issue is the heavy focus on one region means replayability can feel very limiting. In vanilla Hearts of Iron 4, you can play as any country, go historical or not, and create all kinds of weird alternative timelines. Overlord doesn't really offer that kind of freedom. It's much more structured and focused on a specific historical scenario. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean you might not want to keep coming back to it the same way you would do with other, bigger mods. And despite these flaws, I think Operation Overlord, and despite these flaws I mentioned, I think the mod really succeeds at something really special. It takes the core mechanics of Hearts of Iron 4 and reshapes them into something much more focused, intense, and immersive. Instead of being a global war, it becomes a detailed simulation of a single critical campaign, and in doing that, it captures the kind of tension that the base game sometimes lacks. But of course, as always, you should always take a look for yourself, find out if you would like this mod or not. The mod is free, you can download it on the Steam Workshop, of course. But this marks the end of my little review of this rather short mod, but still a very fun mod. I have to say, it's still very fun, even though it's not very large. There's not too much to do. I hope you still enjoyed this, and I hope I see you in my next video. Bye!